Hello class, we are in here again to do justice to what we know best. Today we are going to talk about concepts of management. You know, in our society, if you don't know how to manage, you will manage and fail. But if you know it well, you will manage and succeed. So today in here we are going to talk about management. Management has been recognized as a distinct concept and a vital tool for the survival of any organization from the days of Frederick Taylor, the father of scientific movement. Management has been defined by many scholars as a process of planning, organizing, directing, and utilizing various essential resources, human and material, to accomplish a predetermined goal or objective of an organization or an enterprise. Management, according to ERA 2010, means getting things done through the effort of the people. And also management constitutes those activities that could ensure the efficient and effective achievement of the organization. So these activities are the basic function of planning, organizing, directing, integrating, leading, and measuring. So as a manager is someone who carries out these activities and direct the work of others. So as a manager, you must know what you're doing before you're able to direct others. So the nurse, as a manager, carry out these activities. Management, into some school of thought, is a science. The scientific nature of management is shown in the fact that it is based on rationality of nature, on the idea that relationship can be shown between events. The modern managers, as nurses, must always present themselves or herself the tuition and the experience in determining such factors as motivation. You must learn how to motivate. Delegation, delegating duties to others so that they know what they are doing. Timing, you time them, give them time to accomplish the task. Persuasion, you persuade with a sweet-coated tongue. Directing, to achieve results. So the ability to interpret, analyze, and formulate solutions to organizational problems as a whole and not in parts form the scientific base for management. So many professional organizations are now gradually applying managerial rules or principles to work instead of just providing services. And nurse managers should not be far from it. So if you're a nurse manager and you're able to put all these steps into play, you will succeed. Furthermore, the nurse is also faced not only with professional competency, but also with managerial competency. It is therefore important for the nurse to have a sound knowledge of management from which she can gently operate or practice. This will ensure efficiency, effectiveness, and high productivity in the area of qualitative assurance she rendered to both clients, patients, and their relatives. And that will bring us to what management is. We have different scholars have different meaning to what management is. What is management? It is seen as a system, a process, and an activity. The system of getting things done through the effort of the people. The process by which a cooperative group directs action towards common goal. A process which entails responsibilities for effective and economic planning and regulation and operation of the enterprise in the fulfillment of a given purpose. It also seen as a group of people directing the affairs of an enterprise. The number 3, is also seen as activity of carrying out the assigned tasks with a positive or negative result. Sometimes both management and administration are used interchangeably at the other time, and one is forced to be broader than the other. And that will take us to the next step, which has to do with quality of a good administrator. What are the qualities? We have here about 12 qualities. Number one, as a good administrator, you must be tactful. Whatever thing you're doing, you must be tactful. You should be modest in whatever thing you're doing. Number three, you have a sense of judgment. If you have that sense of judgment, you'll be able to, be able to control conflict. You must have a foresight. You must have a foresight into whatever problem you're about to solve, and that will help you a lot to solve the problem. You must have the ability to delegate duties. Do not think that you can work alone, because a lot of administrators will believe that, will think that I don't want to teach her. I don't want her to know what I have known. It is selfishness. So please try to always dedicate duties so that others will learn from you. The number 6, you must be sympathetic. Yes, you can't be so straight always. You must have sympathy to your fellow human beings. The next one, you must be flexible. There are situations that you look at and then you feel that, let me be flexible and know how to bend certain things. The number 8 one, you must be imaginative. That is being creative in whatever thing you're doing. And also innovative. Encourage also that in your subordinates. You must be experienced, because they have said experience is the best teacher. When you are experienced, when you have learned from others, and you try to transfer learning to others, it will help you a lot as a good administrator. You must have sense of initiative, ability to convert, and also execute plan without being told. Take for example, maybe you have a patient in the hospital, and a patient comes in with a very high fever. You'll be waiting for a doctor to come. Before the doctor comes, the patient will go into coma because of the high fever. So what you do is, you have to be result oriented. What are those things that you're supposed to do as a nurse? You must take a sponge and know what to do as to bring down the temperature before the doctors comes in. So that's why I'm saying that you have to be conserve and execute plan without being told. That is a common sense. You need to put in your common sense to make sure that, this is what I'm supposed to do at this particular moment. Number 11 of it, make sure you must be esprit de corps. This is a language that military uses. You have to be friendly among your colleagues, among your patients, among your relatives too. And that will make the whole scenario very good and friendly. The list here, you must be result oriented. Bring out positive results in whatever thing you are doing. Do not always think about negativity. Always try to bring out the positive things that you can do best. And that will take us to the next one, which has to do with the theories of management. The purpose of this subject is to trace the development of management theories and also the application to the management of nursing service. Nurse managers are responsible and accountable for clinical nursing practice, education, and research in a variety of healthcare settings. So maybe don't think that, I'm a nurse, I'm a student nurse, whatever I do, it will not be counted against me. It's a lie. Always believe that when you are out there in the clinicals to do what you need, you know best. Whatever you don't understand, ask your senior. Otherwise, whatever you do as a mistake, it will be counted to you, and you stand in for it. So let us always be very cautious of what we do, so that we will be accountable to whatever thing we are doing as the case may be. So nurse managers must not only be effective but efficient in achieving their goals within the scope of a limited resources. So use your resources and know what to do at any point in time. So the discussion of the major management theories will familiarize them with patent concepts and principles in the field. And what are these fields? We have in the field of classical behavioral management science, we also have general system and contingency approaches that we are going to use. Furthermore, we also have classical authors. The classical author of management theory emphasizes the function of a manager. They focus on how managers should perform their function. According to this approach, the function of management is to discover one best way to perform manual tasks. What is this one way or one best way to perform a manual task? This approach is based on classical economic theory that human beings are basically motivated by a desire for economic betterment. Yes, there's no how. Maybe you ask somebody to do something without him thinking that, oh, at the end of it, I should benefit. So human beings are being motivated based on the fact that he has something, there's a desire that he wants to achieve. So we should all know that even your child at home, by the time you send him several times, at the end of the day, he will say, Mommy, I need something. You know, I have done this, I have done that. So that is it. Human beings, they have that desire for economic betterment. So you should always have it at the back of your mind that whatever any person does to you, or you send that person, at the end of the day, you want something, either by praises or by giving of incentive, so that at the end of the day, the person will be very, very happy. So the classical author went further to also identify 3 components of the management process. Number 1, we have planning, organizing, and controlling. These approaches consist of scientific management and a classical organizational theory or functional or process management theory. Also, that will take us to the next one, which has to do with scientific management theory. We have somebody who is behind that, and who is no other person than a major contributor to the field of scientific management, who is no other person than Frederick Taylor, who was born 1911. He was a mechanical engineer, and his work was aimed at applying scientific method to develop accurate management to determine what constitutes a day's job for various factors operation. He wrote the principle of scientific management, which established him as the father of scientific management. He focused on making management a science rather than individualized approach that was based primarily on experience. He defined guidelines for improving production efficiency. He urged for the establishment of standards through study of the job to find the best way of doing it and the shortest time required to do the job. In his theory, he went further to see that the worker is seen as an economic man to be induced to work effectively through wage incentive established by time motion study. This is an example I've given before. Whatever thing you're doing as an individual, it will always bounce back to incentive. You also have it at the back of his mind that, oh, at the end of the day, I will have something. So Taylor also tailored his view based on that the worker is seen as an economic man to be induced to work effectively through wage incentive. So if you don't have incentive to give to anybody, do not encourage the person to do that. He also went further to do so many other things. We have Taylor's overall goal. What was his goal? His goal was an industrial efficiency in terms of high productivity, lower cost, as well as high pay for workers for increased productivity. That is to say, if you work hard, you'll be paid more, and if you work less, you'll be paid less. His philosophy and work technique are still being implemented today. Industries produce products on an extensive scale within a specified time frame and base workers' compensation on individual productivity. He believed that the greatest and the most efficient production occur when managers, number one, give each worker a definite task to perform in a definite time. Number two, select the worker or the right worker for the task and train him. Number three, motivate the worker to a high level of performance by incentive method of payment. Taylor's approach is based on assumption that a person will be motivated to work if reward and penalties are tied directly to his performance. So that this shows that at the end of the day, even workers that work and then want to be paid by the end of the day, by the end of the month, if they are not paid, you see them grumbling right and left center. So payment is very, very important when it comes to organization. So we also have another colleague of a Taylor who was a young engineer. He was concerned with improving workers' efficiency at the top floor. What did he do? He was able to develop a giant chart that compares between work plan and work completed on one axis and time elapsed on the other. This facilitates the administrative function of the planning, controlling, the evaluation in establishing a desired outcome. So the chart has become an indispensable tool for scheduling work activities within government and non-governmental organization circle. So you can as well do that same thing. Draw up a timetable and then tell your children, or maybe if you want to start in a smaller way, draw out a timetable and then do what a Taylor has just done here. Try to compare, give them time to finish up their job. You see that that work will be completed within a specified time that you have, scheduled. He also went further to say that Taylor's effort inspired people like Frank and Lillian, husband and wife, to continue his work. They Gilbert directed their efforts towards work arrangement and designing the proper tools for optimizing work performance. They also emphasizes that when applying principles of scientific management, what must you do? One must consider the workers and also understand their personalities and needs. The Gilbert brought in a human touch in their contribution by recognizing that it is not the monotony of the work that results in workers' dissatisfaction, but rather management lacks interest in the workers. So when once the manager lacks interest in the workers, the work will never go further. We also go further to talk about functional or process management. In the contract to Taylor's concentration on management, we have another person who is Foyer, who was born in 1916. His own concern was he has a higher level of organizing. He had interest in efficiency and production in an organization. He concentrated more on the task to be done and not the human being involved in performing the task. So Fourier was also concerned with principles of organizing and the functions of the manager. He defined administration as consisting of planning, organizing, commanding, coordinating, and controlling. He also initiated the functional approach to the pursuit of organization and management, and then also developed what we call 14 principles to guide the performance of managers in an organization, which is known as Fourier organizational theory. What are these principles? Number one, we have division of labor. Division of labor, you know what division of labor is, trying to share the work within the people that are there. For example, maybe when you go to the ward and you are excuse me, and you are asked to, as you resume, you are being shared to carry out bed bathing, dressing of wound. So that is division of labor. Within 2 o'clock, you are done. So that is it there. So he came up with division of labor. That's number one. We have authority and responsibility. That is number two. When you are being given authority and there's no responsibility attached to it, you will not perform well. So when you go into my book, we have a book in the bookshop that you can get it and you see the 14 principles of fire. But I'll read the headings to tell you what it entails. Number one, as I've said, we have division of labor. Number two, we have authority and responsibility. Number three, we have discipline. Number four, we have unity of command. Number five, we have scholarly change. Number six, we have unity of direction. Number seven, we have subordination of individual interest to the general interest. Number eight, we have remuneration of personnel. Yes, there's no how you can talk about organization without putting in money. Budgeting is also very, very important when it comes to doing something. Number nine, we have equity. Yes, it's all over. It's all over here. So when you get the book, you see it. So number 10, we have order. Number 11, we have stability of tenure. Number 12, we have initiative. Number 13, we have centralization. Number 14, we have esprit de corps. They are also very simple here for you to understand. But if you do not understand, you can inbox me and then I will explain each and every step that you need to know. So the next one here we want to talk about is the criticism of early theories. Yes, several criticisms have been laid against Taylor's scientific theory and Fourier's organizational theory. So we have Taylor's theory sees the manager as the key factor in planning, whereby separating planning from doing. You also view, this view is in contrast with the concept of management, which is doing things through and with people. Secondly, this theory is based on the assumption that productivity is a factor of a common interest between the manager and the worker, which is true. Fourier's contribution is that his principle of management have a universal application, which is also what we do globally. This has been criticized by many. As a manager, jobs are not the same. That is the own view, that jobs are not the same in all jobs and in all organizations. His criticism is that the application of functional theory of management is a matter of situation. Yes. So in general, the classical writers were seen to be more control-oriented than motivated-oriented. Their concept of management was based on management doing something through people and not with people. So it is this management system that was introduced into Nigeria during the colonial days, and Nigeria has held onto it with dissatisfaction, dubbing it as Uyibo work, meaning a work system in which the subordinate is reduced to a position of dependency. The the worker has no say at all time what is being done and how that has to be carried out the instruction. These approaches are mechanistic in nature, forcing somebody to always do something, always do the right thing. That's what they will tell you. So also look into bureaucratic model. We also have a man here who is no other person than Max Weber, who was born in 1952. He's a German psychologist. He studied man in his environment and productivity. His primary concern was bureaucratic structure and how this affected productivity. Weber also went further to describe bureaucratic organization as a highly structured, formalized, and impersonal organization. He also viewed the bureaucratic organizational design as the most efficient model that could be used for complex organization. The right to exercise authority based on position is a major management premise, evidence in authority. Legal authority facilitates depersonalization and promotes legal obedience to the established order. Based on that, we also have characteristics of bureaucracy. What are the characteristics of bureaucracy? We have about 6 characteristics, but we're able to merge them into 2. So when you go into the book, you see it. Merging it into 3, we summarize it into 3, which number 1, we have specialization. This applies to specialization of job rather than of a person. We also have hierarchy of authority. This clearly defines levels of authority. We also have system of rule. We have rules and regulations that must be carried out. So rewards, authority promotions are located based on impersonal basis. Rules are implemented irrespective of your own position. So we also have here Weber's analysis tend to be descriptive. When you read it, that's an assignment for you to go and read analysis of Weber. He came up with clear definition of labor, how he sees labor. He also talked about criticism of Weber theory, which is also here. There are about 7, and that will bring us to this class. I want to also thank you for listening. This is what we'll be doing, especially if we don't have a class. Where I am, I'm very comfortable to relate this subject to you. And that will end our class for today. Thank you for listening.